Hi, my name is Scott Marker, and this is another episode of Treasure Valley NIA Quick Tips. How this came to be is I'm a franchise owner for over 7 years of a professional networking groups, and we get together once a month, local high caliber business owners and professionals, and we, referrals, of course, but also helping each other try to grow their businesses. And through that, here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho, I just meet a lot of really high caliber business owners. And so I bring them on to the show and share their expertise. And today is a perfect example. Hey, Mario, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Mario Gonzalez. I own a portfolio of small service-based businesses. Portfolio is named Lifetime Legacy Holdings, really focused on building generational wealth, not only for myself, but also for my family and friends and close people that I interact with who, been along in the trenches with me. I also host a podcast named the Legacy Builders Podcast, and it's really about just understanding stories and backgrounds of folks, what makes them tick, and hopefully providing guidance along the way. So thanks for having me, Scott.
Yeah, yeah. You're a busy guy because you're like you buy businesses, you're an investor, you host the podcast, and you're dad.
Yeah, yeah, busy
Yeah,
times,
yeah. So
but it's fun. I enjoy it.
that's great. I know, as I said, I love kind of love your attitude, the way you do stuff. So you talk, I kind of heard about it, but not the way you put it before. But when you talk about um, passionately about, a mission on, building generational wealth. I mean, where did that come from? Do you have a personal story about that? I mean, how that got you talking about that?
Yeah, man. Like early in my 20s, I listened to the Zig Ziglars. I remember getting a little audio CD from the library or maybe like a discount bin or something, and I would play that. I forget the other big names back then, and that always was in the back of my mind as I was like, I want to be a motivational speaker at some point in my life when I have that experience, when I have that knowledge. Now it's kind of transition, and it always does in your professional career, right? You kind of grow, you learn things, you test things, you figure out what you want to do, what you're strong at. um, I reached a point, at least in my business career or business ownership career, to where I've put in the repetitions. I've, managed and owned, operated all the things with the dog training business for 3.5 years, acquired my first business this year, going into my third acquisition. And I'm like, hey, I feel like I unlocked a superpower, and I want to just educate and help people grow their generational wealth, whatever that means for them, right? I don't know about the commercial real estate game. That's like a goal for another chapter in my life, but
Right.
at least for what I know now, I want to distill that into folks. I know a lot of people who have started side hustles or just they analysis by paralysis, right? They don't know what they want to get into.
Yeah.
Um, but now I'm in a position to where I can help them, right? If there is an opportunity, they have a little extra cash, they don't know what to do with it. They want to build a business or start a business or buy a business. That's kind of what it boils down to for me. So it feels like I'm coming full circle, not in the sense of being a motivational speaker, but on the back end, helping folks systemize, purchase business, acquire growth or acquire wealth. That's, the name of the game for me right now.
Yeah, and then something that I want you to kind of talk a little more about is when you say, um, uh, you know, so you buy businesses for people, stuff like that. But a lot of times, um, you like to kind of like systemize them and turn them into an asset. So what talk about that? Because you can buy a business, but um, you know, you're gonna try to improve it. So how are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of folks, and it depends on what kind of business owner you want to be,
Yeah.
right? There's folks that get into a business, it's something that they love doing. And then when you wear that operator hat, you're making the sales calls, you're having to either do the advertising yourself or do the physical manual labor yourself. It can take a strain on anybody, even if you're doing something you love. So when you get stuck in that owner operator hat, you don't really get to enjoy life unless you really, really are passionate about that thing. So for myself, at least when I got into this first business, I always knew that as soon as I could hire it out, I would hire it out.
Uh-huh.
But when you do that and you start relying on other people and you start relying on vendors and those partnerships, they're not always partnerships that are going to get you to that next level to where you want to be. So you have to consistently evaluate those partnerships. I like to do it on a quarterly basis now, whether it's a marketing agency or employees, and kind of set those KPIs, build, SOPs. And when it comes down to the systemizing, that's kind of really how you work your way out of the business, so you can work on it and take more of that CEO view of the business, right? Like, so you're looking at the dashboard, you're looking at KPIs, and then ultimately you get to work on the things that you want to work on. But once you put in the repetitions and you are able to work your way out of one business, guess what? You unlock the skill set. You can apply that to other businesses. So for the acquisition that I did this year, Poop 911, pet waste removal business, I already acquired the skill set from All Dogs Unleashed, the first business that I owned. And so it was very easy for me to go in, hire an operator, coach the operator. I already had a back end systems with virtual assistants, and then now dealing with AI and automation and putting pieces together. That's really the exciting part about it for me right now in this area of my journey, because now I can apply that same system to other businesses that I acquire. So it's kind of like a back end, if that makes sense.
No, it does. No, and I like that, but it's true because a lot of times you'll which I've talked to you before the show about is that um, through the members in the groups, CPAs and bankers, kind of you talk about systemize stuff and get things going. That's the thing that I hear over and over again is a lot of businesses, um, especially their books, are just in shambles. And they're
Yeah,
again, it's basically a glorified job
yeah,
rather
it
than your
is.
own business.
Yep.
So no. Um, so like who who's the ideal audience? Who are you trying to reach out to? And then what problems are you trying to solve?
I mean, honestly, I want to reach out to anybody who is thinking about starting a side hustle, or they want to do something. They want to build quote unquote passive income. And
Okay.
I don't think passive income is really passive. That's a conversation for later, but
Okay. Okay.
um, eventually you can get there. But folks who are working a 9 to 5 want to get out of it. Folks who have already exited businesses and maybe want to partner on an opportunity, um, who have access to off market deals, private equity investors, PML, just if you are thinking that you want to build something bigger than yourself, or you're in a position to where you can help folks build something bigger than themselves, then that's folks that I want to talk to and want to network with and rub shoulders with, because that's not only in turn going to help me get to where I want to be, but it can help me get other folks to that journey too.
Cool. So this is my lack of knowledge. So there's private equity, PE, and then venture capitalist. So what's the difference and kind of what are you, if any?
uh Private equity is, they'll invest in a lot of different things, small business, or it could be a commercial development. It just depends. Interest rates are pretty high. I believe, I'm not too sure about the venture capitalist space, but from what I
Okay.
understand, it's more of like they'll invest in portfolios.
Yeah.
I personally, where I fit is I'm looking for the folks that have the money to invest into myself, into my M&A group, Empire Builders,
Okay.
because we have the knowledge, we have the skill set, but a lot of us, even for myself in my stage, we don't have the capital to invest into a business acquisition, right?
Okay.
So eventually, I would love to get there into to private money lender space to where I can lend out to folks. But I've also even thought about things like, I can structure a deal, I can go buy it, I have the business know-how or the connections with at least SBA to where I can get a dog business for 0% down. Maybe I get that
Oh,
somebody brings me $40,000 and then they get instant equity into the business. So it'd kind of be
yeah.
like a buy-in ladder, so to speak.
Oh,
So I definitely trying to get creative with the deals and how they're put together is something that I want to learn, but that's kind of the phase I'm in now.
cool. That's great. Yeah. So people are looking for opportunities of owning a business or growing their business that's the people you want to talk to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just got presented with an off-market deal last night. Somebody wants to sell their hiking dog business. It's only been operational for 3 months. There's a
Wow.
small book of clients. Maybe not necessarily something that I would want to be interested in, but if I'm talking to Betty Joe who loves walking dogs and that's her passion, then hey, I can help her get that set up and live her dream or her passion.
That's awesome. And that's something else too, is I noticed like with you, the common denominator is dogs. Um, so are you thinking of going outside of that, or are you sticking keeping because that's like the fourth
I would
company you talk
love
about with
to
dogs.
venture outside of that. That's a great question. So right now, it's dogs because it is the devil I know versus the devil I don't.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
only for myself, right? I keep talking about repetition because I really believe consistency is key. But I have built a lot of brand equity not only with my dog businesses but with lenders like SBA lenders. So it's
yeah.
very easy for me right now to find a like I'm going to close on a grooming business here in 2 weeks in Texas, right? The bank already trusts me because I know that space really well. I have
Good.
two operational businesses, so it's very easy for me to find a business in Arizona, a dog training business, and the bank's going to be like, "Oh yeah, Mario, we'll give you, this business for 0% down. You don't have to put any money down." If I go into a different vertical like HVAC or lawn care, I'm going to have to come up with 10% down, right?
Okay.
So I have friends and family who are lined up with anywhere from 50 to $100,000, and like, hey Mario, when you find the right business, let me know so we can partner on it. So then it'll be on me to find the deal, structure it, put it together, and then we figure out what that partnership is. But yeah, to answer your question, I would love to get out of the dog space and into other things. It's just when I got into the dog training business, the numbers made sense to me. I've always been back of mind like I don't care what it is. I'll scrub toilets for a year and
Yeah.
then I'll get to the point where I can hire it out and step out of it. So I just reached that
Yep.
point probably about a year ago and I'm not looking back.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so now, um, if let's talk about looking out. So you're looking out 5 years from now. I even hate to say, well, when it comes to like just wealth and stuff, you can talk about like 10 years out. But going back to what you said about every quarter, you like to look at your vendors and talk about employees and stuff. I'm the world's moving so fast right now with AI and everything else. I say as a business, the old days of doing business plans for a year, you might they have to be shorter than that because stuff
Yeah.
changes so dang fast. So I love Corley. But when it comes to what's the end game for you? Where would you like to be 5 or 10 years from now? Where would you want to be?
Man, 5 to 10 years from now, I would love to own at least 10 businesses. It'll probably be more than that. I'm going to have a portfolio operator. That portfolio is going to manage all of the entities, roll back up to me. They'll be responsible for, doing quarterly visits, one-on-ones with all of the entities. I'll delve into the commercial space. It'll be really for me just picking and choosing which opportunities I want to invest to or get into. But ultimately, um, helping other folks, like I said before, build generational wealth, whatever that means for them with whatever little they have. I'm a firm believer in like, I don't want the whole pie, just little slices of different pies, and then everybody eats, everybody's happy.
Yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of us have, mental roadblocks. We want to do something and we just don't make the effort. And I was always in a mind state of like trying something and then get bored and I'll stop. And then I had to come to the realization like it's okay to start something and not follow through with it. At least you tried it because you have somebody, maybe a block away from you who has all the ideas but never tries, So
yeah.
5 to 10 years from now, I want to be that person that people can come to and be like, hey, Mario, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm over analyzing, and I can kind of give them direction, right? Not from a business coach capacity. I have no interest in that, but again, tying back to Zig Ziglar and motivating folks to get out of their shell and do what they want to do, and having the
Yeah,
resources to do it, I think is more important.
yeah. As I mentioned to you also before the show, I spoke to intro to um, entrepreneurship at Boise State like 2 weeks ago, and a bunch of young kids in the class and stuff, and it kind of comes into your theme is, and I was just telling them that I just see going forward that just because of big companies trying to automate people out more and more and more, AI is automating people out, stuff like that, is I think that um, more the younger generation is going to look at becoming a business owner, an entrepreneur,
Yeah,
because one, because they want to, because it's like, hey, I don't want to work for a company that's going to lay me off 5 years from now or doesn't care about me, or you do work for that company and you get laid off. So maybe you decide that you're sick of working for other people, um,
yeah,
but yeah, so I think kind of what you're doing is kind of, I think it's going to become more and more popular. Not you're doing it kind of on a bigger scale or like a lot more multifaceted, but just being an entrepreneur and owning your own business, I think in the going forward is going to become more and more popular because it's just I think the business world has changed here in the United States. So
oh,
what's
for
your
sure.
thoughts on that?
The business world changing in the U.S.
Yeah, just like, do you think there's be on? I mean, do you think my thinking's correct there that going forward there's be more and more small businesses?
I think so, but I think it really depends on the generation because you have kids now that are 13, 14, 15, 16 that are YouTube stars that are making, millions of dollars off of just acting goofy or whatever their
Yeah,
niche is.
that
So I
that's like
really think
1% of
that,
1%.
yeah, I mean, I already think it's a market now. I think
Yeah,
it just depends on the individual.
yeah,
I do know I am friends with two folks, gentlemen who were recently laid off, and they're like, you know what? Instead of going to try and find another job, I'm just going to start my own.
yeah,
So yeah, it exists. It just depends on where that person is at.
yeah,
I do honestly believe we talk about AI all the time. I think that AI is going to make it a lot easier for people to start businesses.
yeah.
Um, for sure, absolutely. So yeah, I can't see the trend.
Yeah. And so, well, not getting too much in the ditch here, but so like when it comes to like when you say systemizing stuff in businesses, uh, is that something that you hire vendors to do, or do you do it yourself? Because me, I love I love technology, but
Yeah,
I'm not a techie guy, so I have to actually rely on
yeah,
other people to do that stuff. So what about you? When you get a
yeah.
business, you said
I
you
mean,
like to systemize them.
yeah. When I was in high school, I took like PC tech class, and I wanted to be a computer programmer. Again,
Oh,
lots of the different things that I wanted to try and do. Um, and it was kind of boring, right? Learning the code and all that. And then fast forward to present day, um, I had advertising agencies marketing for all dogs unleashed, the dog training business. I had HQ for Poop 911 do the marketing to hire, had a Google guy. I had SEO companies that I had been paying, shelling out money. And when I started doing my own research on what their deliverables were, I really understood that they were over promising and under delivering. So I started diving into Chat GPT and figuring out how to build GPTs. And I was like, hey, instead of relying on them to do 4 blog posts a year, one a quarter, I can crank out 16 fully optimized SEO blog posts in a month, like every single month. So I started doing that. I started building systems, not only for SEO, but for the marketing piece, for like a Google Ads Master, right? So that way, it got me to a point where I could fire the SEO company, I could fire the advertising agency, I could set up automations for my sales guy, I could make the sales team more effective because it's uh, building a Zap automation that listens to the transcript after the call, letting them know what they could do, what they did great, what they could do better, and what they could change for next time, how to handle the objection. So, so yeah, it's like if you dive into the weeds and you want to educate yourself, you want to learn. Um, Systemizing is it can be a game changer. And so I built and I trademarked and I copywrote all of the processes. So it's called Legacy Engine. So the cool thing about that too, Scott, is like Now, every time I do acquire a business, I can plug that legacy engine
That's
into
cool.
that business and then jump shoot SEO. So I'm ranked to the top of Google and then plug in the
Love it.
marketing and all those things. So yeah,
See,
it's
that
fascinating
that
to me.
that is awesome because that actually reminds me of Alex Ramosi. Is he
Yeah.
mentioned that he paid a bunch of money for like the best ad agency and something else too, and
Mhm.
he told him, "I'm going to fire you." So I paid him a boatload of money because he goes, "I want to do it myself." And so he
Yeah.
learned it, and then I mean, but he told him up front, but you don't have to. But I mean, again, he learned it and then does it himself. So that's kind of like you're doing.
Yeah, it's like Dave Ramsey, right? Like the quote I always take from him is, "You pay your stupid tax." Like you don't know
Yeah.
what you don't know.
Yep.
You take what your vendors are telling you, for like for word for word,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then once you start wising up and you actually start doing your own research, you uncover a lot of things. And if you can take things upon yourself and really learn, then yeah, I mean, it's a lot of untapped potential.
See, and that's kind of like a repeated theme here, but I really like it is because I haven't heard anybody looking at your vendors every quarter. I think it's so smart because so many people I've talked to here in the Treasure Valley, Idaho, that said they hired, you put in the company X and they kind of didn't pay attention. And a year later, 2 years later, they did a horrible job and took thousands of dollars from them. So I really think it's just a very smart idea to take a look at your vendors and maybe they're doing a great job, praise them, you know. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I just think that's very smart what you're doing is every quarter looking at your vendors because as a business grows, maybe outgrows grow your vendor, or maybe you need maybe you go to your vendor and say, hey, you need to step up your game because I need anyway. So I think that's a very smart thing.
That's a great. You outgrow partnerships, you outgrow relationships, and it
Right.
depends what stage you're at. If you're operating, then the business and the $300 marketing agency could work well for you. But once you
Yeah.
hit 500K, 600K, you want to scale beyond that, then you got to switch gears because they're not going to meet expectations. Same thing with the CPA or a bookkeeper. So good point.
Awesome. Hey, so we'll wrap it up here, but I want to kind of one thing I want to do is again, just again, so what if here if so now are you when you're to investors and stuff, are you not just talking here in the Treasure Valley, you're talking about anywhere in the United States?
Anywhere in the U.S.,
Okay.
first this acquisition in Texas will be kind of be that stepping stone, so that way I can
Okay.
operate a business where I don't live. But yeah, anywhere
Okay.
in the U.S.
Okay, cool. So, and again, just tell us like, so who are people, any type people that are looking to maybe they have a little, some money they've got saved up or something, $50,000, $10,000, $100,000, and they're just thinking about maybe investing in a business. There's someone that would be a good person to reach out to you.
Yeah, anybody who is wants to get into a business, business ownership, or maybe they already run a business, but they want something to tack onto it. So it could be a micro
Okay.
acquisition. Uh, for instance, like a contractor who does a painting, maybe wants to tack on a fence building service, right?
Okay.
So that way he can start just subletting his own company kind of deal, or folks who have capital who want to invest in folks. So just anyone in that category who's in business or talks the language of business and wants to do something else.
Cool. Cool. Well, this has been
Yep.
great. Like I said, I love the way you're so passionate about it. And the thing I like about you is a lot of people talk. I've known lots and lots of people over the years and talk about they're going to be a business owner, you know. And then I bump into them a year later. They're going to be a business owner 3 years later. They're going to be, and like you're like, you got a business going, you got it successful. Then you acquired a new one. Now you're looking at another one. So I love that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate it, Scott.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, hey, I appreciate. So what? I'm gonna have all your contact information in the show notes and stuff. But what's the easiest way for someone to reach out to you?
Just go to lifetimelegacyholdings.com.
Okay,
You can read up on me there, follow me on LinkedIn. All of the socials are in that website.
cool,
And of course, reach out to you, Scott.
awesome. Hey, I appreciate it, Mario. It's been great. Maybe I'll bring you back here on here again after you get another company and let us know kind of how it is to kind of keep expanding buying businesses.
Yeah,
Appreciate it again.
absolutely, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Mario.